Hello drivers, so here we are, V10, V9, V10. Before getting started, few things about complicated things about my life at the moment. I am buying a new house, so I am moving, but I am moving for a few months, you know, so it's been a few weeks that things already moved, other don't. So by example, the place where I was showing video about the assembly doesn't exist anymore. I have to manage something to shoot the end of the assembly of the gearbox. So that's one part. It will be like this, I think, until the end of the year. And I'm also, and that's a funny thing, you know, the V9. Oh, maybe I can start by introduce what is this. So it's the SRT Gearbox. It is a DIY project. It's a H-pattern and sequential gearbox that you can do by yourself. You can print the parts or buy the kit on the store. You buy the mechanical kit on AliExpress, and you just assemble the gearbox. You can also add many mods like buttons, the e-clutch, joystick, and other things. You have here the V9.0, V9.1, and here the V10. So, and yeah, funny thing, the V9, I released the V9 when I was waiting for my first baby. And now for the V10, I'm waiting for my second baby. And don't get me wrong, I'm not planning things depending on the gearboxes. So yeah, it is a little bit complicated at the moment. Quite hard to find time to work. Quite hard to work. Just that. So I'm really happy today to introduce the new gearbox. It's been months since I started to work on this. It's been quite hard, and I hope you will like the result. So how we are doing this today, we will start by talking about the V9 and what I don't like about the V9, and then I'll show you what is new about the V10, how I fixed things. But before getting started, I just want to state that if you own a V9.1 and if it is working flawlessly, there is not so many reasons to upgrade. I really want to say that because, well, I guess people want to know. Yeah, honestly, if it is working perfectly, there is really few reasons to get to the V10. You are going to see in the rest of the video if you want to do this, but I really want to say that no, the V9 isn't bad. Okay, V10 is better, but V9 is okay. I wouldn't say the same thing about the V8. V8 was a little bit weak, but V9 in particular, the V9.1 is pretty good. Let's start to talk about what I don't like about the V9.1. Well, maybe I'll tell you why, the story behind the V10, why I started to work on the V10. The thing is, I started to think about the V10 since the V9, just because, you are doing things, there is things that are fixed. I mean, the PCB didn't change, you can't change the main axle, and you have to do with that. And I was really happy with the results, with the upgrade between the V9 and the V9.1. But I really had to keep the shopping list the same, and while doing that, I was already thinking, well, if I do another version, I want to change that part that way, and that's what I did with the V10. I mean, it's not the same parts, it's not the same 3D parts, it's the same spirit, but you can't, swap parts. And the thing that really told me, okay, you have to do this and you have to do this right now, is because, well, I sent a V9 to an English YouTuber, and I really have to thank him because he's been really nice with me when shit happens. Well, you know, he received his V9 and he fried the servo here, because the servo, well, if it's not perfectly calibrated, I mean, if you ask the servo to reach a position that is impossible, well, maybe in 5 seconds it fries. And the guy fries the servo, and that's nothing against him. It's normal. It's not, you know, if you are doing the gearbox by yourself, you pay attention to this. And even guy that built the gearbox had the issue. And well, he fried the servo, and I thought, I can't tell him, okay, just buy another servo, solder the wires here and here, and now calibrate the servo, but maybe we'll fry. That's why it wasn't possible. You know, YouTubers have other things to do. So I thought, okay, I need to change things. I need to upgrade, and I started to work on the V10, and it's been very long, very long. I mean, you know, he had the V9 and it wasn't, he couldn't use it. So anyway, I started to work on the V10 because of the e-clutch and because it was a little bit too weak. So yeah, it is the first thing. The e-clutch needs an auto calibration system. The second thing is the PCB isn't suited to do the e-clutch. You know, the e-clutch appeared with the V9.0, but at that time I started with, as you can see, a wire. It was meant to be a mechanical solution, and I really like it's mechanical, but anyway. And then a guy started to work on this servo-based solution. It was far more easier to install. And so I took the idea, and the V9.0 already had an e-clutch mod. It wasn't, it isn't on that gearbox, but it was present. But the PCB was already made, so we had to keep it that way. And there is no, you know, no port for the e-clutch. So you end up with that version. Isn't the standard PCB. It is a PCB I made a few weeks ago, but it isn't the one that you will get with the industry and CNC kit. So it is already a little bit better looking, but you won't get that result with the standard one. I think I have still a few units left on the store if you want to check it out. But anyway, no easy solution to solder the e-clutch, so it was also an issue. And last one with the e-clutch, here you see that part, the plastic arm. You had to cut the arm to fit. I mean, it's not a big issue, right? But I didn't like it. Okay, so that's it about the e-clutch. Another thing I wanted to improve is the reliability. It was already really good, okay, but you know, I want it to be perfect. So one issue you could have with the V9 is the Hall sensors here. That part here. If you disassemble the gearbox and you keep the PCB in place, well, you will have that part here inside. Maybe you see it, that will push on this one. Maybe I'll show you like this. I think I like the gearbox. Okay, and if you open the gearbox, I hope you see that part will push again the Hall sensor and will damage it. So it's not a major issue because you just have to pay attention when you disassemble the gearbox, but I didn't like it. So that was something that needs to be improved. Also, the way the gearbox is mounted, you see that there is a lot of holes everywhere. Well, those holes aren't that tough. So that was something that also need to be improved. I didn't like the lever because the thread is too short. If you want, to install a nut to lock the lever, you have very small room here. So that was something that I wanted to change. I mean, once again, that's not something difficult to change, but it had to be changed. Then the point about the V10 was also to prepare for a commercial version, and with that in mind, I had to make the gearbox easier to assemble, because when you are doing this by yourself about the V9, maybe it will take, I don't know, honestly, I don't know, maybe 4 hours to build, and obviously if you want to make a commercial version, 4 hours are very long. That was the first thing. The other thing is, I made quite a few V9, and each time the smoothness was different, and I was wondering why. And that's not something that can happen with a commercial version. Obviously, it needs to be the same way each time, and you don't have to, you make the gearbox and then you think, okay, it's not that smooth. Maybe I will remove this part and fix this. I mean, if you are DIY, it's okay. I mean, it is even part of the pleasure of the whole thing. But on the commercial version, it's not possible. So I made changes to fix that, and also to improve the smoothness. I did already quite a lot of work with the V9.1 to improve the smoothness, but it wasn't still satisfying, or you really had to adjust things to make it good. And I understood finally that the issue is with mostly those shafts here, because if those shafts aren't perfectly parallel to the main axle, you will have friction whatever you do. And at the beginning I really thought that, well, it is 3D printing, it is pretty accurate, and it will do the job. And in the end, no, it doesn't do the job. It is mostly satisfying, but once again, you will have to adjust things. So it's something I wanted to improve. And another thing I understood is that you have the same problem at the back here with the linear bearing, because the linear bearing, if it isn't perfectly parallel, once again, well, you will struggle to reduce the friction. So we have an issue here, an issue here. Once again, if your gearbox is satisfying to you, it is okay. But so that's something I had to improve. Then another thing I tried to improve is the number of different parts. To make it easier to assemble, but also, for people to make it, and the number of, 3 printed parts, but also mechanical parts, just to ease the work of industry and CNC. And for the new version, the V10, they are providing something equivalent to the V9 mechanical kit, with shafts, bearings, PCBs. But they are also providing a screw kit, because there is less screws, less types of screws. You know what it is. It is easy to put 20 screws in the same bag, but it's hard to put 20 different screws in the same bag, So I really work hard to reduce the number of screws for this version. The last goal, once again, it wasn't a major goal, but I'll try also to reduce the size of the gearbox. It isn't a game changer, but it is a little bit smaller, as you will see now. So it is the V10. I'm so proud of this. Honestly, it's been, once again, it's been tough, you know, to make this gearbox. It's been long, and the result is so much better than what it was, and I really hope that you will like it as I do. Mostly for people that will upgrade maybe from the V9 to the V10, because it's something so different. And okay, no more talking. Let's dive into this. So let's start by maybe the size. So I will align the front axle, and as you can see, it is shorter, not that shorter, okay, but it is still shorter. Okay, so it is, I don't know, 3-4 centimeters. So it is a bit smaller. Okay, so let's start by the E-Clutch. There was so many improvements on the E-Clutch. So as you can see there, now there is a servo support, servo mount, and it helps to make this. So let's remove the cover. So what you do is you just assemble as you can see, you just assemble the servo on the mount. You do the wiring. You can keep the provided wire, do not have to cut it, and you just install it right there. So it is the first improvement, because on the previous version here I don't even put the screws, but the screws goes there, and it was really hard to put because you don't have so much space for the Allen wrench. As you can see, I even scratched the body too, and when you tighten the screws there, often you will have cracks just here and here. We don't see here, but most of the time it will happen. It's not an issue. I never heard someone that had an issue with that, but it wasn't that satisfying. So now you have that mount, and you don't have to struggle to install the servo. You also have, as you can see, now a dedicated port just here with the wiring. Once again, you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to put it back just like that. Yes. So and I changed the motor. It is a bit stronger. It wasn't necessary to have a stronger motor here, right? But it comes with that so much fancy metal arm, as you can see here. So you don't have, you know, that crappy plastic arm anymore, and that makes things cleaner. Okay, from here we are going to move quite everywhere in the gearbox, because I don't know where to start with. So okay, let's continue with the E-Clutch, and mostly the PCB. The PCB is so much different. So as you can see, now we are using GST connectors, because they are easier to make and more reliable, and also quite hard to remove. Okay, I know how I'm going to do like this, right? So the new things about it just is behind. So maybe I don't know what I did with that one. It is so much hard, but let's do this one. Okay. So what you have? What is new is you have that part here. Let's start with that one because it is the first one. That prevents current to flow back to the Arduino. I don't know why, but the servo was sending power in some cases, was sending current to the Arduino. I don't know why, but that's not that good. So I put that part, so there isn't the issue anymore. And the big amazing thing is that little one here is something that measure the current and the tension. So what it means is, as you can see here, you have a port, maybe it is here, you have a DC connector. So that part is able to say if you really put 5 volts here, and then you have, where it is, I think it is that one here. That one is able to cut the power. So it means that you know, we are able to say if we are okay to start the servo, and we are also able to cut. On the previous version, where, you know, with that button you could push here and the servo was going back to the unlocked position and was idle. But the thing is, it was still power supplied, and you probably heard that, you know, it was moving a bit. I don't know why, mostly because it's not that accurate, so it was still moving a little bit. And now we can just cut the power and just say, okay, just cut the power, so we won't hear him anymore. So it is a big upgrade, and that's not the only thing we can do with that. We can also measure the current, and if the servo try to reach a position that is locked, well, the current will go very, very high, and you can say, okay, just stop to move, you can't go there. So it means that with that new PCB, or the things you see there, you can just calibrate the servo motor with something automatic, and it means that you won't fry the servo anymore. So it is one of the biggest upgrades with this V10 version. It is definitely the clutch and the power supply management that makes it so much easier to use, so much more reliable. And now let's continue with that. As you can see, you don't have any hour sensors as before. It is now that tiny thing here, those tiny things here. So you can't break it, you can't touch the PCB even while removing parts. So I just put the power here. So you have a power LED, but the new great thing is, you see the magnet? As you can see, we have LEDs that tells if it is working or not. And the other great thing is working in both ways. With the previous version, you had to check the air orientation by using the software. It was, well, a bit long, and also we don't see here, but there was 2 magnets that were facing each other, so it wasn't that reliable. And now, as you can see, we just have 1 magnet on top, and it is just working. You see, so it means also that you don't have to use the debug on the Arduino IDE anymore, because you can just check if it is working. And honestly, I don't see why it wouldn't work. And I mean, obviously all those parts will come already installed with the Industry and CNC PCB. So yeah, it is the biggest improvement. Honestly, I worked a lot on this PCB. There were many versions, but the result is something that is so much more easier to use, so much more reliable. Okay, let's continue the tour. So here we have a mod. The most popular and official mod for the V9 was the sequential locking system by Anton. And it was something that prevents, when you are in sequential, the lever to go from left to right. And it worked on the new system, because on the previous version it was here and inside you just can't reach it. So it worked on the new version. It is something like this, and he made it with magnets. I just changed it with something that don't require magnets but still works flawlessly. And I really have to thank him, because the idea was great, and he also tested the V10 with me. So a big thank you, guy, for your walk and for your time. So you have that mode here. Here the shafts here, same size as before. You just install them by the top, and then you have this mount that will lock the shafts. On the previous version, the shafts you put there by below, and you should put there a screw to prevent the shafts to go back, and it's locked there on top. You can see there. So it is a bit easier and less screws required. Let's move on with the sequential switches. On the V9, the switches for the sequential are hidden here, and it's quite a pain in the ass to install because you have to install the switches. The wiring isn't that easy, so I really want to fix this. I tried an horse sensor mode, but if you are on my Facebook page, you probably know that it wasn't working that good. So I did another solution. It is still switches, you can see here, but it's now on a standalone plate. Okay, so let's remove this. So you have one screw there, and then it just snaps from the outside like this, and it snaps around the shaft for carriage, so it is perfectly aligned, and here you can see it. So it's far more easier, you know, you just install the switches, do the wiring, and then you install the parts. And as you can see, the wiring is somewhere easier too. I'm trying to put it back with just one hand, and here we go. I don't think it's the right side, but anyway, it will be okay, and it just snaps. So as you can see, so much easier to install, but also to fix, because don't get me wrong, I know that those switches are pretty weak, but as you can see on the V9, if you had issue, well, good luck with that. Okay, so yeah, it's really good. Okay, let's continue with carriage. On carriage, nothing that special, just the springs here, they are back on the shaft, because you know, on the V9 I can remove the slider there. What happens is that the springs here, they are free to go away, and once again it was quite a pain in the ass. So now they are stuck on the shaft, and that's so much better. And in fact, you know, I did that way because I thought that we could improve the smoothness of carriage, but as you can see there, it's perfectly smooth. So no matter if the springs are on the shafts or elsewhere. About the slider, where, well, not so many differences. You have that part here that is a bit offset, just because of the way the switches are located, and you also have tracks that are a bit simpler, as you can see here. So it is V10, it is V9. It wasn't that tricky to print, but honestly, even with a Bamboo X1, you still have, you know, you can't print 20 tracks at the same time. You will have issues. So I made the design a bit simpler, and it just keep in place, because I don't know how you say that in English, but you know, it's a little bit like the Simucube quick release, you know, where the more you use it, the more it keep in place. So that's it. Not so many differences, but and about the sequential, well, it is better just because there is so less friction. Maybe I'll show you later. There is so less friction that you can have here different designs that are better with the thing. So yeah, it is better than before. Okay, to move on, we are going to disassemble the gearbox. So let's do it. Oh no, just before, I want to show you the smoothness. That gives you an idea. It is because we don't have shafts here, we have ball bearings, and it is so much more effective. Okay, so let's disassemble it. As you can see, the gearbox, let me know in the comments if you think that it is easier to make or not. So, about body do, well, not so many things to say, but the H part track is now there because you know you have the bearings here on the low side, so you can't put the H part in where it was. You have here the raise for the bearings, and where there isn't so many things to say. Here, so you have the lock system. On turn, there isn't so many new things. It is a bit different, but not so many. No turn, you just have, as you can see, the sequential lock. Preload is about the same, just the screw there is longer. Cranks, well, is really only cosmetic. And body one, where the huge difference is the linear bearing at the rear. It was that, and now it is just that. Yeah, just like this. And it is so much smoother than what it was, just because there is no issue if it isn't perfectly parallel, because you know it's not that big. And well, in the end, 3D printed bearings are just doing the, you know, the work for what we do. So a huge upgrade. And now let's put it back. Just before, I just want to show you that now you have just one huge hole to put the cables. Okay, and last thing, the noise. Many people said, well, that gearbox is crazy, but it is pretty loud. And well, there is mostly two reasons for that. The first one is it is open. I don't know any gearbox on the market that is open like this. And imagine that you put a full enclosure, well, it will do far less noise. The other reason is because, well, it is pretty, people just put, you know, the hard track, the very hard track, and obviously it will make more noise than a Logitech shifter. But it's meant to be like this, you know. So I did my best to improve that a little bit. So what I did here, you have kind of an enclosure for the mechanical parts when it hits the back to reduce a bit the noise. And I also added O-rings here on the shafts and here on turn. And so let's compare both. So V9, V10. So as you can see, it's better, but it's not I don't mean it. It's not something, you know, stealth or anything. So it is the V10. I really hope that you will enjoy building that gearbox. You will enjoy using this gearbox. Well, I put as much love I could in that thing, and once again, I'm really proud of the result. I really think that it will outstand anything you can find out there. So if you like it, you can check the links in the description. Once again, the V9 is still okay. I will keep online the documentation for that. We have a lot of things planned for this year, for the end of the year. So please consider subscribing to the channel, and I see you soon on track.